Poilievre delivers scathing rebuke to Carney, a defining moment in Canadian politics. In the current political landscape of Canada, the rivalry between Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party, and Mark Carney, the former governor of the Bank of Canada and a potential Liberal leader, has reached a boiling point. Poilievre's recent remarks about Carney have not only stirred controversy, but also highlighted the deep divisions within Canadian politics as the country approaches a pivotal election. This moment could indeed change the trajectory of Canadian politics forever. As Canada faces significant challenges, including economic instability, rising inflation, and geopolitical tensions, the upcoming election is shaping up to be one of the most consequential in recent history. Poilievre's strategy appears to be focused on capitalizing on these issues while positioning himself as the voice of the average Canadian against what he perceives as an out-of-touch elite represented by Carney. During a recent rally, Poilievre delivered a scathing critique of Carney, accusing him of being part of the political elite that has failed to address the needs of everyday Canadians. He characterized Carney's policies as disconnected from the realities faced by working families, suggesting that Carney's tenure at the Bank of Canada was marked by decisions that contributed to the current economic woes. Poilievre's words were not just a personal attack. They were a calculated move to frame the election as a battle between the common people and the elite. Poilievre emphasized that Carney's policies led to increased living costs and economic hardship for many Canadians. By highlighting these issues, he aims to resonate with voters who are struggling to make ends meet. He pointed to rising gas prices, soaring grocery bills, and the difficulty many Canadians face in affording housing. These are not just abstract economic issues. They represent real challenges that affect families across the country. By framing Carney as an architect of these problems, Poilievre seeks to position himself as the solution. Poilievre's rhetoric is steeped in populism, portraying himself as a champion of the people against a privileged class. This strategy is designed to galvanize support from those who feel marginalized by the current government. He often employs dramatic language to evoke strong emotions, using terms like out of touch and elites to draw a clear divide between himself and Carney. This populist approach is not merely about attacking an opponent. It is about creating a narrative that resonates with voters who are frustrated with the status quo. The timing of Poilievre's remarks is crucial. With the election looming, he seeks to define the narrative early, positioning himself as the candidate who understands and prioritizes the needs of ordinary Canadians. His speeches are carefully crafted to include personal anecdotes and relatable stories that illustrate the struggles faced by many. This human connection is vital in politics, as voters often respond more favorably to candidates who seem to genuinely understand their experiences. Poilievre's devastating and humiliating words for Carney could have far-reaching implications for both candidates and their respective parties. The fallout from this exchange may reshape voter perceptions and influence the direction of the campaign. If Poilievre successfully frames the election as a choice between the interests of everyday Canadians and the elite, he could significantly enhance his appeal among undecided voters. Voter mobilization is a critical factor in any election, and Poilievre's attack may energize his base, encouraging more supporters to rally behind him as a viable alternative to the Liberals. Increased voter turnout among Conservative supporters could be decisive in key ridings, especially in areas where economic issues are paramount. Poilievre's ability to connect with constituents on these topics could translate into tangible support at the polls. How Carney responds to these attacks will be critical. If he can effectively counter Poilievre's narrative and present a compelling vision for Canada, he may mitigate the damage. Carney's background in economics and finance gives him a unique perspective that he can leverage to argue for a more stable, responsible approach to governance. However, any perceived weakness in his response could further embolden Poilievre and solidify his position as the frontrunner. The media's portrayal of this exchange will also play a significant role in shaping public opinion. If Poilievre's remarks are framed as a decisive moment in the campaign, it could solidify his position as a strong contender. Conversely, if Carney is able to pivot the narrative back to a focus on policy and governance, he may regain some ground. The media landscape in Canada is highly influential, and how these candidates are portrayed could sway undecided voters. This moment in the campaign is not just about two individuals. It reflects broader trends in Canadian politics. The increasing polarization between populist and establishment candidates is indicative of a larger shift in voter sentiment. Many Canadians are feeling disillusioned with traditional political structures, which opens the door for candidates like Poilievre, who promise to shake things up. Poilievre's approach aligns with a global trend of rising populism, where candidates position themselves against the political elite. This could signal a shift in how Canadian politics is conducted in the future. The electorate is becoming more engaged and demanding change, and candidates who fail to recognize this shift may find themselves out of touch with their constituents. As younger voters become more engaged in the political process, their preferences may lean towards candidates who address their concerns about economic inequality and social justice. This demographic shift could redefine the electoral landscape in Canada, and Poilievre's strategy may need to adapt to capture this emerging voter base. Engaging with younger Canadians on platforms they use and discussing issues that matter to them will be essential for any candidate seeking to secure their support. The outcome of this election could determine the future direction of the Conservative Party. A strong showing by Poilievre could solidify his leadership and influence the party's platform for years to come. Alternatively, if Carney is able to counter Poilievre's narrative effectively, it could signal a resurgence of establishment politics in Canada, challenging the populist wave that has been gaining momentum. As Canadians prepare to cast their votes, the stakes have never been higher, and the political landscape may be forever altered by this pivotal moment. Poilievre's words carry weight, and their impact will likely extend beyond this election cycle. The dialogue surrounding economic policy, accountability, and the role of government will continue to shape Canadian politics. In conclusion, Pierre Poilievre's devastating and humiliating words for Mark Carney represent a critical moment in Canadian politics. As the election approaches, the implications of this exchange will reverberate throughout the campaign, potentially reshaping voter perceptions and influencing the future of both the Conservative Party and the Liberal Party. The battle between populism and the political elite is set to intensify, and how these candidates navigate this landscape will be crucial in determining the outcome of the election. This moment could indeed change Canada forever, setting the stage for a new political era defined by the voices of everyday Canadians.